Most people believe that their biggest problems live outside of them. They think it's the lack of opportunities, the wrong people, bad luck, or circumstances that keep holding them back. But what if the real obstacle isn't the world? What if the real problem is something far more uncomfortable to accept, something inside you? What if the reason your life hasn't changed is not because you can't, but because on some level you don't let it? This is the uncomfortable truth at the heart of the mountain is you. The mountain you are trying to climb isn't your career, your past, or other people. The mountain is you. Your habits, your fears, your emotional patterns, your unconscious decisions. And until you understand this, no amount of motivation, information, or discipline will permanently change your life. Self-sabotage is not laziness, it's not weakness, it's a coping mechanism. It's the mind trying to protect you from pain, rejection, or uncertainty, even if that protection slowly destroys your potential. Most people don't sabotage themselves because they hate themselves. They do it because they are afraid of what will happen if they actually succeed. The mind is wired for familiarity, not happiness. It prefers what is known over what is better. That's why people stay in situations that hurt them. That's why they repeat patterns they swear they want to escape. Change feels dangerous to a brain that equates uncertainty with threat. So instead of moving forward, it pulls you back into what feels safe, even if that safety is suffering. This is why awareness alone doesn't fix self-sabotage. You can know exactly what you should be doing and still not do it, because the problem isn't knowledge, it's emotional conditioning. Your nervous system remembers what once hurt you, and it tries to prevent that pain from happening again, even if the threat no longer exists. Every unhealed experience leaves a mark, not in your memory, but in your behavior. You don't consciously choose to procrastinate, avoid, or self-destruct. Those behaviors are automatic responses learned through past experiences. At some point, they helped you survive. Now, they're holding you back. One of the most powerful ideas in this book is that your triggers are your teachers. Anything that causes a strong emotional reaction is pointing toward an unresolved wound. Anger, jealousy, fear, insecurity. These emotions are not random, they're signals. They show you exactly where your inner work needs to begin. Most people try to fix their lives by controlling the external world. They chase better routines, better strategies, better systems. But without internal alignment, nothing sticks. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your self-image. And your self-image is built from what you believe you deserve, not what you desire. Many people secretly believe they're unworthy of ease, success, or peace. So when life starts improving, they unconsciously create chaos. They miss deadlines, they ruin relationships, they abandon progress. Not because they want to fail, but because failure feels familiar. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar freedom. This is why healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about unlearning who you were forced to become to survive. The version of you that developed coping mechanisms was doing the best it could with the awareness it had. But that version does not get to decide your future. True change begins when you stop asking, "How do I fix my life?" and start asking, "Why do I resist the life I want?" The book emphasizes emotional intelligence as the foundation of transformation. If you cannot sit with discomfort, you will always escape it through distractions, addictions, overthinking, or avoidance. Emotional avoidance is the root of most self-destructive behaviors. We don't lack discipline, we lack emotional regulation. Learning to be present with uncomfortable emotions without reacting to them is one of the most powerful skills a human can develop. Because emotions are temporary, but the actions you take to escape them often have permanent consequences. Another crucial idea is that your identity shapes your habits. You don't repeat behaviors because you lack willpower. You repeat them because they are consistent with who you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you will subconsciously maintain that struggle. Growth requires an identity shift, not just habit change. This is why affirmations feel fake to many people. They clash with deeply held beliefs. Real change happens when you gently challenge those beliefs through consistent evidence. Small promises kept, small boundaries honored, small actions repeated daily. Trust is rebuilt not through motivation, but through integrity with yourself. The book also explores how people confuse intensity with healing. They believe healing must be dramatic, painful, or chaotic. In reality, healing is often boring. It's choosing differently in quiet moments. It's pausing instead of reacting. It's walking away instead of proving a point. It's consistency over intensity. Self-sabotage thrives in chaos. Healing thrives in stability. One of the hardest truths in The Mountain Is You is that no one is coming to save you. Not because the world is cruel, but because empowerment begins when responsibility is accepted. Waiting to be rescued keeps you stuck in a childlike mindset. Choosing yourself moves you into maturity. Responsibility is not blame, it's ownership. You can acknowledge that something hurt you without allowing it to control you forever. You can honor your pain without building your identity around it. Healing doesn't mean forgetting the past, it means no longer living inside it. The book also challenges the obsession with constant self-improvement. You don't need to fix everything at once. In fact, trying to do so often becomes another form of avoidance. Real growth happens when you slow down enough to feel what you've been avoiding. Stillness reveals truth. Silence exposes patterns. Discomfort shows you where you're still holding on. Many people fear being alone because solitude removes distraction, and when distractions disappear, the inner noise gets louder. But solitude is not emptiness, it's clarity. It allows you to hear your real needs instead of numbing them. Another powerful message is that emotional maturity is choosing long-term peace over short-term relief. Short-term relief comes from avoidance, validation, and distraction. Long-term peace comes from honesty, boundaries, and patience. Boundaries are not walls, they are instructions. They teach others how to treat you. But more importantly, they teach you how to treat yourself. Every time you ignore your own boundaries, you reinforce self-betrayal. And self-betrayal is one of the deepest forms of self-sabotage. The book explains that growth is non-linear. You don't heal in a straight line. You will revisit old patterns. You will have setbacks. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're learning. Compassion, not punishment, is what sustains change. Self-trust is built when you stop abandoning yourself during discomfort, when you choose honesty over performance, when you allow yourself to feel without judgment, when you act in alignment even when it's hard. One of the most transformative shifts is realizing that you are not your thoughts. Thoughts are conditioned responses, not truths. You don't need to fight them, you need to observe them. Awareness creates distance. Distance creates choice. Choice creates freedom. The mountain doesn't disappear overnight, but every step you take towards self-awareness makes it smaller. Every honest moment weakens its hold. Every aligned decision turns resistance into momentum. Your life changes the moment you stop seeing yourself as broken and start seeing yourself as becoming. Growth is not about force, it's about permission. Permission to change, permission to outgrow, permission to let go. The mountain is not punishing you, it is shaping you. Everything you're facing is preparing you for the version of yourself that can hold more peace, more clarity, and more purpose. When you stop fighting yourself, life stops feeling like a battle. And the moment you realize that the mountain is you, you also realize something far more powerful. If the mountain is you, then you are also the one who can move it.